friend of the show, Valerie Orsoni. How you doing?
Doing great. Look at me. I'm all tan.
Oh my goodness. You've been in Papua New Guinea for a month, is that right?
Yeah, I went to Western Papua, actually, in Indonesia for a scuba diving trip with friends on the boat and then on the beach. We've done up to 4 dives a day, including night dives. I logged in
Wow.
about 30 dives in the month, yeah.
Okay, and there was an amazing discovery about gut health, fried food, and being in a country where you wouldn't expect it to suit your gut. So we'll get onto that in just a second. Before that, today we're going to be looking at Propolis, the hive's natural antibiotic, or is it a scam? You've done a deep dive into this. So I thought it'd be a great topic to start us off with today. It's the sort of thing I sort of feel like it was big 10 years ago, Propolis, and I don't hear that much about it now. Tell me what you found in your
I'm such
investigation.
an old grandma. Listen, I used to think that propolis was this hippie thing, which obviously, since the bees make it, it's super healthy. And I pretty much always ignored it. Except when I was in Papua diving, one of the things I was using to breathe, was hurting inside my mouth, and I had a little sore on the gum. But every day I would put it back, and it was painful. And then there's a lady, she's like, oh, you should use propolis. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So just to, make her happy, I put a few drops in a cup of water, I rinsed. And I was like, oh, placebo? Oh, I feel better, whatever. And I did it 3 times in a day. In the morning after, when I put my breathing, apparatus in the mouth, I'm like, oh, I don't feel anything. And I was like, hold on a minute, maybe there's something to it. Let's go and do a deep dive. And that's what I did. And by the way, do you know what propolis means?
Well, I've been reading your investigation
so you
into
know.
it. So I think I know now, but please can you tell me again, remind me and everybody else.
So pro means, of course, in defense of or in front of, and polis, like from metropolis, means city. And so propolis means the defense of the city, which I really love, because it's the glue that the bees produce to protect their hives. And it's an ultra powerful antibacterial sealant, to a point where if they have some sort of dead insects and stuff, they just mummified them around, and they put the propolis around, and no bacteria gets out. It's very powerful. I was really shocked in a good way. And we've been using it, oh my God, since the Egyptians. They used it for, again, mummification, but the Greeks, in the Middle Ages, people used it to treat infections. The Soviets used it during the Second World War, when they did not have antibiotics. So also, I'm not saying do not use antibiotics, but they used it, and they had quite a lot of good results. And then a lot of research was done in the 70s. That's why it's kind of linked to the hippie power, flower power. But it is actually a huge cocktail of 300 molecules, and it really works. I mean, it has phenolic acids, terpenes, flavonoids, some minerals. It's amazing. And the thing that's very important, it's an antibacterial, so it can really help with, some, again, antibiotic resistant bacteria, but like some beginning of an infection, it could work. It's also being studied as an antiviral against herpes viruses, influenza. And there is a research right now being conducted in Germany to see how it could help against coronaviruses, including SARS-CoV and stuff. So we'll see. And I've seen a few studies as well, as far as being a very strong antifungal as well. So I was like, whoa. And for me, I read a lot of oral health studies, and they did show how it can help with gingivitis and periodontitis, mouth ulcers, which I had. So I'm just in awe. And so now in my European market of curated products, we do carry propolis, because I was like, this is too good to ignore.
Yeah. So it contains resins, beeswax, essential oils, pollen, and organic and mineral compounds. And what was the experience when you started using this on your trip?
And just by the way, if you are allergic to anything coming from bees, obviously do not use propolis, because you will have a reaction to it. People use it different ways. You also have some syrup, which I do not advise to take, syrups with propolis for your throat. The idea is correct, but adding sugar is not great because, as you know, sugar is not helping with infection. So I would go against anything that has sugar added, with propolis. But the pure extract, I really love what they call the green propolis from Brazil, but there are others, organic. You put a few drops in a little bit of water, and for the mouth, you rinse. If it's like a sore on the skin or something, you can also apply it. You can drink it. There are so many ways to take it, depending on what you're looking for. Some people have said, though, it cures cancers and treats diabetes and stuff. No.
Yeah, I saw that.
Let's not go crazy. However, for ENT infections in children, 50% reduction in respiratory infection. It really, there's strong evidence on that. So, and I read one about cold sores that apparently a 3% propolis was more effective than acyclovir. So I was like, whoa, that's for my friends who suffer from cold sores. It's not really sightly on the mouth and it's painful. That also could be a solution. And so if you have a little boo-boo for kids, you can find propolis in like an ointment way to apply. The oral spray, people have it. I just did my own on the boat with water, and I just switch it around. Some people take it in a capsule forms, which can be a bit strong. So you have to be careful not to take too much. There is something to be said about too much is not always great. And then some alcohol tinctures as well. So it depends really on what you need it for.
I'm literally going to the organic shop after this to get some for my boy this weekend. And I don't know for kids how the best way to take it is, but the ENT infections in children thing sounds really very interesting, especially in winter with all these colds around. Wow. Yeah, I mean, there are some exaggerations, as you said. I had a little look online myself. Some people sort of saying, oh, it can replace antibiotics, which, if you really, obviously, most people who listen to this podcast want to avoid antibiotics as much as possible. But it's not a replacement for antibiotics, but presumably it has a slightly different role.
Yeah, I love, not taking strong medication, but sometimes you need to. But, oh my God, I want to tell you something very massive about antibiotics. As I was diving a lot, some days no, but some days 4 days. Obviously, one of my ears started acting up, even though I was treating it with love. And I did get an ear infection that grew around that part, which means it's really extensive. Local drops don't work. You need to take an antibiotics. And because I wanted to dive more, there were crazy sides. I'm like, okay, I still need to go. I'll take the oral antibiotics. I take the first one, the classic one, which is called Augmentin. It doesn't work. So after 3 days, a doctor who was on board said, hey, how about you take that particular antibiotics? I was about to take it. And he says, hold on. Just so you remember, do not exercise for 10 days when you take it. It can lead to massive issues with your tendons, even ruptures. I'm like, oh, wow. So I went, did some research, discovered that particular antibiotics can lead to ruptured tendons, which takes 1.5 years to heal. But for 6 weeks, you cannot exercise. I didn't know that about certain types of antibiotics. So if you guys are watching this and you're like me, you don't want to take it, but sometimes you have to, always check. If it's not something you've heard before, the side effects can be very debilitating sometimes. And I elected to not take it, suffer a bit, and fix it as, I was coming back to the US.
Yeah. Certainly, I remember before I got into all of this, I had a wisdom tooth out and it didn't really go to plan. And after about 8 weeks, there was a hole in my gum where the wisdom tooth was. It hadn't sealed up. And I think I had to take, it was something crazy like 8 rounds of antibiotics in a row. Can you imagine what that did to me?
Yeah.
Until you know, you don't know. And I just sort of thought, oh, well, I've got to take the antibiotics again. But of course, it destroyed my gut and everything else.
But sometimes you have to. And that's the thing is, some of my biohacker friends are so adamant, do not take it. I'm like, hold on. I think we give it too easily. But there are instances where they're here for a reason. They save lives. And that's why I don't want to have this black and white perspective. It's more gray. Like if I can avoid it, I will. If I really need to, I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay, this is probably a stupid question, but it's not quite the same as Manuka honey, is it?
No, it's not the same. The honey is actually a different compound. And I am on the fence with Manuka honey. I found a lot of studies, but it's always kind of, the funding always comes from parties that have an interest in increasing the sale of Manuka honey.
Right.
And so I'm kind of on the fence. I'm actually allergic to honey anyway, but I've tried beauty products with Manuka honey. To be honest, I never seen any difference. I don't believe honey is such like a magical product, even though the nice bees are making it for us. So
Yeah, yeah. So basically, the way you can take it is alcohol tincture,
yes,
capsules,
yep,
oral spray, or
yep,
ointment. And
exactly.
it does strike me when I read your report and saw some of the places that where this has been used in history. You mentioned ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, Roman Empire, Middle Ages, the Boer War, and World War II, especially with Soviet doctors and modern science. And it is one of those sort of forgotten wisdom, if you like, ancient wisdom, which has been around for such a long time. But because we've got antibiotics now, we sort of forget about it.
I'm here anymore. Can you see me?
Oh, Valerie, we lost you for one moment there.
No,
I,
I'm
ca- I
here, but the camera is black.
yes, the camera's black, but I can still hear you.
I don't know what to do.
It's
What can we do?
well, I don't think it's my end.
No, it's black on my end. It
Yeah.
disappeared. And
You want to drop out and dial back in?
it says it's working, but it's not. I mean, I'm clicking on the camera is active. If I click on it, it becomes red. So
That's weird.
that's bizarre.
We
But
can just
if
carry on recording if you want. I can still hear you.
but I mean, hold on. Do you want me to come back? Is that going to be a problem for you?
Yeah, try. No, no. Well, we can. I can edit this bit anyway. So why don't you drop out and come back, and
Yeah.
we can
I don't know
carry
what
on.
happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
Now? Oh
You're
yeah.
back. I can see you. Okay.
Good. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened. I
The
did
line.
hear a sound. I did hear like boop at one point, and I disappeared.
Yeah. You did go black a few minutes ago, but I could still hear you.
Okay.
And your Wi-Fi now does seem a little. You seem a bit grainy.
Oh,
But
actually, that's funny because I have a very good signal. I'm on a T1 line. It says it's perfect.
yeah,
Huh.
it's really it's weird. You're definitely a little bit blurry.
Okay. Do you want me to come back just to see what happens?
No. I'm going to close some windows as well, and then we'll just get on with it. It's fine. Because
I'm trying to see if I can close a few windows here, but I have a very good, very strong signal. That's why and I only have 4 tabs open.
Oh, that's better. It's better now. You're better now. So, yeah. So
Thank you.
what so what I was just saying was that I sort of feel like it's forgotten wisdom in some ways. This is stuff that our ancestors would think we were mad that we'd forgotten all this.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Not everything that was done by our ancestors is good, obviously, but the reverse is true. There were things that we forgot. It's too easy. It's not high tech enough. It's not a Oura ring. It's not a Whoop. It's not a crazy modality. And a lot of biohackers or longevity, experts I like this brand new stuff. They're always the brand new, shiny, new toy. If it's old, it can't be that good because we have evolved. And no, I think some of the things from before, and I talk about it, are good, and some of them are not that fantastic.
Yeah. That's that sort of list of different areas and places in history where this has been used. Absolutely fascinating to see the history of it all. And I do
I
think
can
that's the case about
mummify
a lot
you,
of
Tony.
things.
I can use that to mummify you forever.
I guess it's the same as essential oils. We sort of slightly turn our nose up at stuff like that these days.
I mean, yeah, and
But
some of them are
actually,
amazing. Like
yeah,
helichrysum is super powerful. So again, you can't be just in one direction. So many people, it's a polarizing subject. Like some people would tell you, "Oh, I heal everything with natural medication," and I'm like, "Hold on a minute. Sometimes you need the science, like the modern
Yeah.
things. And so it's kind of finding the balance. But for that, you need to be educated. You need to learn. You cannot just listen to one person. You need to do your homework.
Yeah. And the final thing I wanted to ask you was in terms of skin, you talked about how this is the glue that the bees produce to protect their hive. Is it something that acts as a barrier or can it act as a healer in terms of skin and skin issues? Because I mean, you know, obviously my sideline is that I talk to people about histamine intolerance a lot, and you'd be amazed at how many people have skin issues of some sort relating to histamine intolerance. And it really does bother people, and it gets people very down.
So it does have a strong anti-inflammatory effect. It's a very powerful antioxidant, a very high ORAC capacity. However, I have not tried, or you're giving me an idea, haven't tried to use it as a topical beauty product. But now thinking about it, since it's healing when you have a wound, and since aging is somehow wounds, mini wounds, I'm going to try that. I'm going to add it to my daily regimen in a cream, mix it, and see what happens.
Love it. Love it. Well, you've always got a lot going on, Valerie. We've got a few other topics to talk about. But first, tell me about this trip then, because I think when we last spoke, it was before Christmas, and you were about to head off. What have you been doing for the last month, and what were the revelations?
So I was in Western Papua, Indonesia.
I got it wrong. That's not Papua New Guinea, is that right?
No, it's next to Papua New Guinea. It's a lot of politics.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to say how it became Indonesian, but it is Papua.
Okay.
It's beautiful area, beautiful. However, the one thing you need to know is our plastic consumption worldwide is impacting these poor people there because of the currents. Sometimes you're on the boat and you see this massive current full of plastic.
What?
And it makes you
Seriously?
cry. Yes. And at first I was like, oh, the locals don't have awareness. They're throwing things in the water, which is true already. But no, they also are the recipients of, because the currents go around the world in one big circle, they get our trash.
And why does it end up there rather than in the English Channel or the Pacific Ocean?
Well,
next to
it
California
ends up, of course, everywhere, because as you know, we found it in the craziest places, in the trenches, you know, the Mariana Trenches. It does. I mean, some islands you see nothing, and some you see the currents bringing things. We can't control it yet. It kind of made me sad thinking about all this plastic, because where I was diving, and my trip was a scuba diving trip, it was a natural preserve. It's all, you can't even fish there to protect the place. And you're like, yeah, you can protect it by not doing yours, but you're getting the plastic from other people around the world. So guys, when you have a plastic something, anything, and you put it in the trash, remember, it's very rarely recycled, even if the bin says recycling. So start by consuming less plastic, because a lot of it ends up in the water.
It's very visceral when you're on a boat, and I guess you just see a sort of slick of plastic.
I cried. Where we were diving, there was almost never anything, because they found places that were pristine, far away from the main current. But sometimes you're on the boat and like, oh, it's beautiful. And then you look down, you're like, oh, like anything, toilet seats floating. And I thought they would sink, by the way. I learned a lot of very interesting things. But you see things and you're like, seriously, guys? You know? And so there is a work to be done for locals as well, because they are not aware of how big that problem is, but also people like us who are empowered. We are just thinking, oh, I put it in the green bin or yellow, whatever color it is where you live, and thinking, oh, the city or the government is going to take care of it. Well, very often it is not. So
wow.
Important for our health. It's a huge endocrine disruptor, as you know. Plastic are terrible.
Yeah, and certainly my friend Adam, who you may or may not know, Adam Parker, he sort of says that a regular detox is important just to get the microplastics out of the body, if nothing else. And tell me about gut. I mean, I know you've always got a particular interest in gut health, and so have I as well. And I know that you had a bit of a revelation when you were in Papua compared to the diet that you normally have.
And it's so shocking. I can't even understand it. I've been talking to two heads of gastroenterology departments in two hospitals, one in England, one in the States, and everyone is like, how is that even explainable? But I'm going to give you the facts, and now we can think about it. But I was born, or as a kid, when I had my first SIBO case, a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I've had, because I travel a lot, Giardia, Salmonella, you name it, I have it, right? And my gut is like Chernobyl. There's always a war going on. And I know you actually, Tony, you have your issue with histamine. And I was with other people. One of them had a histamine issue, and I had my gut issue. And I knew it was going to be hard on the boat and then on a small island to eat like I need to, FODMAP free, not fried, no MSG, avocado oil to fry, blah, blah, blah. Well, everything went through the window. I'm on the boat. There's no way I can choose, except they agreed on making food with no MSG, which we know is bad. But the oil they used, I actually even put a video on my Instagram of me cooking with an old grandma, is palm oil contained in plastic containers, which very often are in the sun sitting. So, oh my God, the transfer of microplastic, oil, fat, and heat. The water was from plastic bottles kept on the boat in the sun. The food was very often fried, tasty but fried. Listen, 0 symptoms. It was not organic. I'm pretty sure they used maybe, I don't know if it's glyphosate, but they used pesticides. And I was like, hold on, it's good. Not sick for a month, I'm happy. I come back to the US 3 days ago. I start eating organic, pesticide-free, perfect, no FODMAP, and I start having symptoms again. So I'm like, it doesn't make sense. My water is highly filtered. I have everything I need. I'm doing everything by the book. So this coming Wednesday, I have a conference call with a very big expert in gut health in England, actually. And we're going to be talking about it. It's an N1 of a sample. It's just actually N2, two people. But it kind of tells you that, I don't know, it tells you something is strange. We don't know yet what.
Is it, I mean, certainly often people sort of say because of the particular levels of pesticides used in the US, that people, I've heard lots of Americans, for example, say, yeah, when I eat an American bread, my gut is bad. But when I go to Italy and I have pasta, it's okay.
Oh, yeah, they always say that. Yeah, I know.
So is it that, or is it something else? And the one thing that I thought of when you were talking about that is, and my wife sometimes says, when you're on holiday and you're relaxing, the stress levels go down. And then that's obviously a sort of thing. It sounds like you had an amazing time. And maybe that has some sort of impact on gut health as well for you.
So we know it does have an impact for sure, but the SIBO doesn't really care about stress. You have the bacteria or you don't. And I've had situations where I have a very stressful TV show and I have 0 symptoms. And then I'm on the beach for a week in Corsica and then I'm like cramping in pain. And I have not noticed for me a difference in Giardias, all these parasites or bacteria level when it comes to stress levels. Though, diving can be stressful. You should have seen my hands. I got attacked by a trigger fish. I mean, it was a lot of stress. I know stress, of course, has a connection with your gut, very high one, but I'm not sure there. But maybe yes,
Yeah.
I'm moving to Papua.
Okay, well, I don't blame you. It sounds amazing, apart from the plastic. Now, a couple of other stories we wanted to talk about. Obviously, loads has been going on in our world over the last few weeks. Peter Attia, you and I haven't really had a chance to catch up about that. And I know you've been looking at sort of online influencers and online voices who dismantle concepts and sort of shoot down concepts in a certain way. And funnily enough, I've always sort of thought that about Peter Attia, actually. His modus operandi is always, and I know it's easy to sort of put the boot in when somebody, but I did feel before that I wasn't a particular fan of Peter Attia. His modus operandi is very much, I'm a doctor and you're not, therefore I'm right and you're wrong and you should trust me. And as we now know, we probably shouldn't. So there's a few sort of concepts to knit together there, but we just haven't really had a catch up in a few weeks. I wonder what you think about those sort of various stories and everything that's been going on.
So let's face it, Peter Attia's attitude, as far as I'm a doctor, you're not, I know everything, you don't, has always grated on my nerves, or like made me feel a bit antsy. I don't like when people are arrogant, especially when their knowledge is 10 years, 15 or 25 years old. I don't know how up to date you are, Peter, but also he gave me the creeps. I never liked the person. And for me, it's hard. I love everyone. Like, I by default, I like everyone I meet, everyone I don't know. It's hard for me to not like someone. I disliked this person immensely, as much as another one who like this big voodoo guy who's all over the news, which also is in the Epstein files. He, to me, was not a good soul. When I was looking at him, I don't know him personally. And so I was not that surprised when I saw some of the writings, some of the emails he sent. He, I think, got fired from CBS a few days ago.
Oh, he did he? Because that hadn't happened before.
Yeah,
okay,
he got fired.
Right,
They have to let him go. I mean, there's no way they can keep him on board with what he wrote.
Well, I was surprised that they hadn't let him go. But, celebrity Dr. Peter Attia steps down from CBS. So he stepped down, apparently.
He was made to step down.
Controversial longevity expert Dr. Peter Attia has resigned from his post as a CBS News contributor after correspondence between he and Epstein was made public.
Okay. And the question is not that he was talking to a monster. Of course, some people talked to him and they had no clue he was such a bad guy, except in his situation. And I'm no expert in Epstein files, but in his instance, he knew, because he's informed, obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be a doctor who knows everything. He continued exchanging these disgusting talks after the first issues that Epstein had publicly. So to me, that's where I draw the line. Like, I could have talked to Epstein myself. I don't know. I mean, I do know everything about people. Now, if you know that that person is evil, you stop talking to them. This is when you become a responsible person. And now, if you have a voice, which Peter Attia has, he has a CBS voice, he has an online presence, he has fame. You need to use your power to help people be better, not to help spread evil or ignore it.
Yeah, very well said. And I think, I've sort of felt quite depressed. I've talked to a lot of people in the industry over the last few weeks, and I've felt in some ways quite depressed that I think that the overriding sensation for many of us is that, 10 years ago, it was all so innocent, wasn't it? We were going to Saturday morning meetups and comparing blue book and glasses. And now it is an industry which has become highly politicized. And much of that has meant meaningful change in terms of, dietary regulations, food pyramids, and that sort of thing. But it's highly politicized. It's often controversial. There's a lot more money involved. And it's a bit harder to know who to trust than it was.
I agree. And it's interesting. As you said, it's evolved. I've been a biohacker since 98, and that's like 28 years ago. So I've seen the field evolve. I'm not the number one influencer there because I'm not that great with social media or whatever. I don't know. I've discovered something very strange, and that's just about me. Some of the big actors in that field do not like me. I don't dislike them. I don't understand why. And sometimes I'm wondering, why do they dislike me, even though we have never exchanged, but I know through other voices or whatever, that they have said. And I've realized something. I am very loyal to brands. Like if I like a brand, I will talk about it. I'm not getting paid, but I love the brand. And as a biohacker who wants to help the world, I'm going to talk about that brand that helped me. Even if you come with more money and another brand, I'm not going to change. I love this brand. And a lot of biohackers out there with a lot of followers, they make a ton of money, and I have nothing against making money. But by selling something on Monday, something else on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday, going to places in Washington or other Maha big guys, and they're proud to say, I'm rubbing elbows with this famous person and stuff. This is not biohacking. This is Hollywood. I'm sorry, guys. You have to step out of this thing. You have to go back to what biohacking is about. It's about taking time off. It's about having amazing biomarkers and helping others. It's not about raking in the dollars by lying or by putting pressure on people or thinking that because you hug Donald Trump, Barack Obama, or the next president, you are better than the others. It's super important that we stick together and keep the honesty, which to me was here at the beginning. Sorry, I get passionate about it, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, me too. Okay, now in terms of your
I am pissed. That's it. I'm done. We need to meditate.
Yeah. Well, and that's, honestly, when you look at the biohacking world, I think every single, over the course of my career, every single world that I've got involved with always has some dysfunction at its core. Certainly when I trained to the highest level in NLP, there's some
Yes.
weird stuff in NLP. I would say the same in the radio and TV industries. Not everyone is sort of super cool in radio and TV. My wife is a yoga teacher. Some interesting characters in the world of yoga, as she often tells me about. So whichever world you're in, there's definitely some dysfunction, and it's not just it's just not individual to one or the other. But it's just been thrown into stark contrast recently, and I think the problem comes when you look at somebody who is saying one thing, and then behind the scenes it's actually another. And especially if that relates to a public sort of facing image of a very sort of healthy meditative lifestyle, which doesn't translate behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, and look, if you are a biohacker and a famous one, you can't be on Monday in New York, Wednesday in Costa Rica, Friday in Washington, and the next week in Asia and back. You have to leave the words you're saying and spreading. You can't really go against it. It's a pure lie. And there's a lot of money. It's trillions now. I mean, health longevity, I think, I don't know, billions, hundreds of billions. I don't know. The numbers are staggering. And so that's why people are selling their soul to the devil. So they will not be immortal anymore.
Yeah. Before you go, I obviously do this sort of biohacking day, morning routines, evening routines, midweek podcast. I'm fascinated to know with you what your routine was like on your recent trip, and if there were any biohacks that you sort of integrated into your trips. Obviously a bit different, it's a bit difficult to stick to your routine when you're away from home, but what was going on there?
Yeah. So what's important is you can't bring everything with you on the boat. I can't bring my huge red light panel and everything, my HBot. So I adapted. First, of course, every morning, natural daylight. At night, blue light blocking glasses wherever I am in the world. I did take all my supplements, by the way, that's my new line. I did prepare little bags and pouches for every single meal. It's prepared. I go with my big 3-pound, pouch of supplements. It's all prepared. I kept with me my collagen, creatine, all of that. And I actually did not do any cardio for a month. And people are like, oh my God, yeah, well, you dive 3 to 4 hours a day on most days, not all of them. Sometimes you're sailing, but it's tiring, it's exhausting. And so you're working on something else. And I think for the body, it's good also to not have a constant routine physically. It's good to change. So for a month, I was working on my lung system, because breathing is strengthening your intercostals and everything. So I changed my training. I did add on the deck of the boat every day, a 5-minute ab work just to keep it, strong. Yoga on the deck. I kept all of that flexibility. Cardiac coherence. I took my heart math with me. I did every day. I had a 58-day streak, and then I missed one day. I'm like, no. So I kept a lot of things. I don't need near infrared when I'm in the sun like this. I mean, lots of things you don't at home, you don't need when you are somewhere like that.
Yeah.
I did bring my Axiom H2, hydrogenated water machine, so that I would drink every day 4 cups of it. I did bring things I did not use. I brought my red light therapy mask, which I used twice. I brought my tripolar. I don't know if you've heard of it. My tripolar radio frequency tool, which I didn't use. Some of the things I didn't use just because I was too busy being happy.
Well, that's great. That is great. And as you say, that is the best biohack. It is the simple stuff that's the best.
And the sleep, by the way, my sleep was short, but latency was super short because you're exhausted. So latency was like 7 minutes. And I had nights with 3 hours of REM and 2 hours of deep. But the nights were short, like 6 hours, so pretty much super efficient sleep. But in these 6 hours, I would have 3 of one and 2 of the other, which was amazing.
Okay, that's very interesting. I've always found when it's a very hot climate, I need less sleep, but feel perfectly refreshed in the morning as well. Very good. Now, Valerie, you've got a new book coming out soon, and it's in how many languages?
4.
4. Wow. Have you done all the translations yourself?
Of course, I'm so good. I speak everything. No, the one in German, even though I did study German for 11 years, the one in German, I am not translating for sure. But it's around how we've been told to eat for 50 years and how wrong it was. in a way where it's kind of a bit polarizing. The title is a bit aggressive, as you know. It's Eat Wrong, Live Better. I mean, I send you a copy, obviously, but I really think it's going to help people understand. I put a lot of curves and graphics to help people show some of the evolution. For instance, the seed oil and diabetes, seed oil and cardiovascular disease. But I also want to pinpoint the fact that pirate attacks have increased at the same rate as diabetes, and pirates do not cause diabetes. So you have to remember correlation is not causation, because a lot of people in this field use one curve and that's the analysis. You have to wonder sometimes, hey, is that really truly the cause? And you have to do your homework.
Oh, well, sounds absolutely fascinating. When's it out?
So French, 21st of March, English, 28th of March, because on these 2 days, I will be talking in Paris and then in Los Angeles for conferences.
Yeah.
German is May 30th. I'll be talking in Berlin. And Spanish is April 29th, my birthday.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, in which case, let's chat early April or something like that, and then we can cover the book coming out and everything else.
Thank
you. Good luck with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing this cover, which sounds excellent. I'm a bit of a book cover geek, as you know, because I help other authors write books as well.
So I'll send it to you. Okay, hold on. I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah.
Give me your honest opinion.
Yeah, please. That'd be great. And where can people find out more? And obviously subscribe to your Substack, which is amazing.
So valbiohacker.com. Thank you so much for the feedback. So that's valbiohacker.com.
Yeah.
ValerieOrsoni.com is all the brands I love with amazing discounts. And then my Instagram, Valerie Orsoni.
Amazing. You're a legend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And well, we haven't even covered your supplement brand, but we'll leave that for next time. You got a lot going on.
Here.
Wow. Love
Zelnova. I'm super proud of the name. Yeah.
Amazing. Valerie, good luck with everything. We'll chat to you again soon.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.